Good evening. My name is Archibald Moore. I was born as the second of 5 children to a rather wealthy, middle-class family in central London. Due to a long patriotic family tradition, I enlisted in the British Army and served in India for 3 years as an assistant to Dr. John Collis Moore. Later, upon returning home, I began my work as a pharmacist and soon opened my own pharmacy bearing the name Moore's Tinctures and Treatments. With a couple of assistants working for me, I have more time on my hands and turn to another hobby of mine, solving crime.
My name's Ada Złotojska, and I am a young woman hailing from Poland. After my parents passed away and left my homestead to my many siblings, I decided to follow a British scholar back to London, and there I managed to become an understudy of that same scholar. Well, I concluded my education rather quickly and assumed my role as an official alienist in London. Well, however, I was met with much distaste towards my person, as well as my rather inconveniently unorthodox views on minds of men. Despite that, I found a foothold as a consultant for this shady private investigators agency with Dr. Doyle and Mr. Moore.
Hello, my name is Dr. Herbert Doyle. I'm a natural philosopher, and I research the human body, and most particularly death. Well, I was expelled from Cambridge because they don't understand the means of how research should work. Now, after those imbeciles expelled me, I had to find a new means of studying human anatomy, which is solving crime at Doyle and Moore's agency of private investigation.
London, 1820. King George IV has been the formal king of England, Scotland, Ireland and Hanover for almost 1 year. Although he had already served as the Prince Regent for 9 years due to his father's, King George III's, state of mental illness. This period in which our story takes place is often referred to as the Georgian era. The zeitgeist was filled with the aftermath of warfare and colonialism, but also with great technology and cultural progress. In Europe, Napoleon was defeated by the British Empire around 5 years ago, but Britain had also lost all of its American colonies due to the American Revolutionary War nearly 40 years ago. With the help of the East India Trading Company, Britain is currently trying to massively expand its economical and political influence in Asia, especially in India and China. At the time of our story, London is the capital of a huge empire, which was only beginning to expand to its full size. Great parts of Canada, Australia, the coastlines of India, East and South Africa, as well as some colonies in Latin America, were under the firm grip of the British Empire, and profitable trade routes all around the globe were installed. Also, social change was occurring. The Industrial Revolution started in Great Britain, intensifying class divisions and enabling the emergence of rival political parties like the Whigs and the Tories. The Industrial Revolution also brought a transition from hand production methods to a mechanized factory system and led to the development of new machines, steam-powered engines, and an extraordinary increase in productivity and an unprecedented rise in the rate of population growth. London, therefore, in 1820 was relatively modern, but loud, crowded, and most of all, infamously filthy. It had choking, sooty fogs. The Thames River was thick with human sewage, and the streets were covered with mud. It was by far the largest city in Europe at this time, with more than 1 million inhabitants. Official police were not yet installed. Only some watchmen employed by the marshals of the city, and each parish organized their own night watches as well. All these different policing agents had separate but often overlapping jurisdictions, and it was often not quite clear which case would fall into which jurisdiction. That is why private detective agencies, so-called private eyes, were kind of common and popular, especially if the case was complicated or the identity of the culprit remained unclear. It is the 29th of October, 1820. It is raining, as usual, and the three private eyes, which are the protagonists of our story, are sitting in their cozy little office on 58 Crawford Street in Paddington, on the outskirts of London, just north of Hyde Park. You're sitting there, enjoying your afternoon tea, having thoughts about cases you already solved, or your future in crime solving, as suddenly the door opens. The fumes and loud noises of the streets of London pervade into the office. A woman enters. She is wearing a relatively fine blue and purple dress with dark leather raincoat hung over it. The hood is dripping wet from the rain outside. She has curly, shoulder-long brown hair and a very tired-looking face. Red lipstick and rouge are just somewhat disguising the worried eyes and the sunken eye bags. As she enters, she quickly does her hair, makes a coughing noise, and addresses the room. Hello, is this Doyle and Moore, the detective agency? I would really like to hire your services.
Yes, hello, madam. What is your name?
My name is Elizabeth Shelby. And my husband, Michael Shelby, he was murdered. And she breaks out into tears and shakes as she gets a stool that's standing in the room and puts herself down for a moment.
Oh, darling, let me help you and let me bring you a cup of tea. Maybe that will calm your senses.
Thank you. She accepts the tea.
So, how can we be of service? What are the circumstances of your husband's murder?
I don't know. I've been just notified. Not even an hour ago. The night watch found his corpse underneath a tree in Hyde Park. I rushed to see him, but I was told that they had already taken him to a cemetery. I was devastated. They didn't even care to tell me where the cemetery is they brought him. It's not a view that women should see, it's all that they said to me. I didn't know where to go, but I read about your agency in the newspaper. I really hope you can. I have money, please.
We will concern us about money later, I guess.
Yes, you certainly came to the right place.
You should take care and calm down for a bit. You seem to be soaking wet. Are you okay?
Cold outside. Rushing to the park as soon as they notified me. There's all this blood.
It's fine. We can talk about the details later. You just calm down for a bit. You drink your tea before it gets cold.
Sure. Sips of the tea.
Okay, colleagues. And then we should get some more information about the husband's profession maybe, and also about further circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly. And we should find the body.
Indeed. So, dear miss, what were your husband's profession? We need further details to investigate that case properly.
My Michael, he was a simple but talented toolmaker. We had some good living, a small house on the other side of Paddington. He was just a simple, nice man. He didn't bother anyone. It's not fair.
It is not. We will take care of this.
Thank you.
Did he have any enemies, maybe?
No, really not.
Any
I couldn't think of anyone.
any problems?
No.
Do I notice something strange about the woman?
Make an insight check.
Yes. 13.
What's your insight?
My insight is 15.
So you make it. She is honest, but she is also shaking ever so slightly. And it's not just rain dripping from her hair. You also notice she is sweating where she talks. And she is constantly scratching her wrists. And her eyes are scanning the room over and over again like a trapped animal in a cage. And for you, these are signifiers of an opium addiction.
Now, any further problems on your behalf or maybe your husband's behalf we should certainly know about?
Well, last night we had our 5-year anniversary. We had some wine and I fall asleep quite early, but when I woke up he was gone.
Was that all? Just wine? Just alcohol?
Yes.
We need you to be honest with us.
Well, sometimes I have some laudanum, but only to calm my nerves. Not much.
Not much. Okay. Well, you're in the right hands. We are a group of professionals and know about medical care and about medicine in all shapes and forms. So, where did you get your drug of choice?
I don't know. I'm honest. Michael always got it for me, and he always told me that I have to stop taking it, but you know, he was such a sweetheart, and I begged him to get me just one more dose of it, one more vial. But I don't know where he got it. He didn't want me to know, I guess.
For certain. This is not a lady's business in most cases. So, Mr. Moore, do you know anything about her drug of choice? Have you ever heard anything about it?
How much do I know, DM?
You know that laudanum is a very usual way of taking opium. It's like in a liquid form, and it's sold nearly in every pharmacy. In your shop there are some bottles of laudanum. Usually you have to have a prescription from a doctor, but it's not that hard to get if you have money.
Yeah. Well, certainly know some about it. It's a common way of taking opium. It's fairly common, not very hard to get. I and my pharmacy carry some as well. Usually you would need a prescription from a doctor,
Certainly.
but money can solve anything.
Yes.
So it might be possible we are either dealing with, as a first hint, maybe a private seller, or maybe just an apothecary, such as yourself, who might be, well, not very straight-edged.
Very, very well. Now, dear miss, do you have any place where you could recover, where you could stay maybe?
Well, in my house, I guess.
Okay. You
Do
don't... Yes.
Sorry, but do you feel safe there?
I mean, yeah, shouldn't I?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Do you want me to go home?
I guess it would.
I can show you where they found this body.
Yes.
Yes, and we would like to
Mhm.
accompany you home as well.
Yes,
Thank you.
so that we also know where to find you.
Thank you.
Also to make sure she is okay.
Certainly.
And would you mind if we maybe take a look at your house?
No, not at all. Please. I welcome you to my house. And by any chance, do you have any laudanum?
I'm sorry, dear. I don't think that's the right thing for you at the moment.
Right. Alright. And she tries to get herself back together and gets up and takes her coat. Says, "So, follow me. I bring you to the tree."
Very well.
She puts on her raincoat.
I hand her a handkerchief.
Thank you.
No worries, my dear.
Right. So you take your coats as well and leave your office?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Alright. As you leave Paddington, crossing the Edgware Road, dodging rattling horse carts, and entering the Hyde Park via large and busy Oxford Street, you are getting drenched with water, as it is raining bloody cats and dogs. The dirt on the street is turned to large puddles of mud. All the horses are covered in dirt, and the fumes, the stank, and the other odors of civilization are mixing up to an obnoxious smell. You are relieved as you enter the fresh air between the large and old plane trees, chestnuts, lime trees, willows, and, of course, the mighty English oaks, which are omnipresent in every part of Hyde Park, one of the largest and oldest parks in London. You see, although it's raining, dozens of folk strolling through the park and lots of dogs being led by their owners. Mrs. Shelby leads you down the park, cutting through the middle and making a slight turn to the left, circling the Serpentine River. Map here for you. So from north, cutting through the Hyde Park to the Serpentine River in the south, circling around it. And then you arrive at the southern part of the park, namely the King's Private Road, which is commonly referred to as the Rotten Row, which derived from the French name for King's Road, Route du Roi. The Rotten Row was the first street in London that has been lit at night with more than 300 oil lamps. It is also well guarded at night, with night watchers patrolling. Mrs. Shelby leads you down the Rotten Road to the east, to a place just below the Serpentine River. So, somewhere like here.
Mm-hmm.
So just north of the Rotten Row, but below the Serpentine River. 10 feet away from the actual path. She keeps on the road, but points towards a certain location. And there, under a huge, very old oak tree, you can see some barely visible splatters of blood, being completely washed away by the rain in any second.
Okay. I would like to take a closer look at the blood spatter.
You approach, make an investigation check. Everyone can, if you want.
Yes.
Certainly.
2. My
Very good.
I have
19.
19.
Yeah.
3.
Alright. Archibald, you are still in your thoughts and think about what Mrs. Shelby said, and also that she asked for laudanum in the end, which makes you a little bit worried about her state of health. You two go closer and you look at the splatters of blood in the ground, and also at the tree. And you see deep scratches in the tree, probably caused by long fingernails. Also, the nearly washed away splatters of blood, and between them, small pieces of bone fragments in the wet grass beneath the tree. But most interesting what you find, some long and thin black wisps of hair.
Okay. Oh, that is most interesting and most peculiar. Such an interesting. Well, anyway. Yes, I can see there is some residue of bone and some rather long scratch marks between the blood spatter, and also some long strands of black hair. So, and I pick up some strands of hair, and I show it to the ma'am and ask her, what was your husband's hair color?
She
Did he have
comes
long
closer. No, my Michael had short brown hair, and I don't know. I'm sorry.
I'm certain we should keep those sample pieces of hair for our further forensic investigation.
Yes, certainly. Now,
Yes, I'm sorry, I was lost in thought. Certainly.
I've been wondering, these scratch marks, and she approaches the oak. Have you seen something like this? It doesn't look like it was made by a human, does it?
No, really, it doesn't. I mean, this couldn't have been made by a human nail. It looks most very peculiar to me.
It's possible to be from human, but that particular human would have very long fingernails.
Very, yes.
Mhm.
So it's unlikely it was made by a human, but we don't know how strong their, well, nails were, or how strong their grip were maybe in their last anguish or in their anger during the fight.
Well, Miss Shelby,
Yes?
you told us about the profession of your husband. I suspect his hands were rather rugged.
Yeah. His hands were always bruised and lots of cuts and
Short
Well,
fingernails?
short and mostly dirty fingernails, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I would suspect that's not from the victim.
No, me neither.
You all see City Watch strolling down the Rotten Row, coming closer towards your position, looking rather curious in your direction.
Okay, I would actually approach them.
Me as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Right, you go back on the Rotten Row, and just a few seconds later, you're standing in front of the City Watch. As you approach, you see, in his late 20s, blonde guy, iron helmet and a dark leather raincoat, strolling towards you. You see just the notion of some alcohol in the system, just the way he walks, which is pretty common for city watches. As you approach, he says, "What do you want? I'm busy. It's bloody raining, I've no drink left in my flask."
Oh, hello, dear gentlemen. Yes, it's such a rainy day. Right, London. Did you seen anything peculiar today? I mean, it's such a dreadful day. Have you seen any, well, mishappenings today, maybe?
He looks towards you, then looks towards the tree where you were standing before. Aye, I saw the poor fella. Got caught bloody well. Only his upper body and his head were left.
Oh,
Beneath the bloody oak over there. Spits out again. Looks then to Mrs. Shelby and mumbles, "Sorry, ma'am."
Oh, such poor fellow, right? Death can be such a tragedy. So we are an agency, and we try to help the common folk, as you know. Surely as you do, right? We are all honorable persons, and we would like to know where, well, the remains of our husband lie. Maybe you can help us and the poor madam behind us.
Aye. Was brought to the old vineyard passage, burial ground. up in Richmond. Probably gonna take his remnants right below the earth. Have a safe night, folks. Tips his helmet and walks on. If you want, you can say something.
Well, one last thing, sir. You said you saw the poor fella.
Saw how he was taken away.
Oh, only after the math.
Yep.
Ah, what a shame. Okay. Did you see anybody else witnessing this? Were there only I mean, who exactly took the body?
Well, some of my colleagues,
Some
some
of
night
the
watches. We found him there. No legs, no arms. Bloody mess. Didn't want whole fucking London to see it.
Were there passers-by or people who were
Was-
extremely interested?
Was
Other-
pretty early in the morning.
So
Not a single
nobody-
soul in the park.
Are there any, dangerous animals around here at night, maybe?
Well, none that I know of.
Peculiar.
Certainly.
Well, like I said, have a safe night, folks.
Yes, thank you.
Good night, gentlemen.
He walks
You
on.
too, sir.
No.
Well, at least we know a little bit more than before.
Yes.
So where should we head next? Should we get poor Miss Shelby home first, or should we go straight to where they put his remains?
Miss Shelby,
Yes.
how do you feel about this?
Well, if I'm completely honest, I would really like to see his remnants. If you could take me with you.
We will certainly take you with us.
Thank you.
And I take her by the arm and hold her.
She's shaking like way more than before.
I whispered to her, don't you think it will cause her more mental fatigue to see her husband in such a manner?
Well, widows need closure. And who are we to argue against what the widow wishes?
Oh, the mind is your profession of mine, so I think we should trust you on this.
Yes. I trust your expertise.
Yes.
Right. So you head towards the burial ground. Alright. You take Mrs. Shelby and hurry towards the cemetery. The location of this sad cemetery is not hard to find. It takes you about 2 hours before you arrive there, in Richmond at the cemetery. It is still raining, and it has also become dark by now. Night has fallen as you open the screeching iron doors of the dark cemetery. Rows of tombstones towering up. The moon spends some light, but mostly shapes are visible. And apart from the dimly lit road in the middle of the cemetery, which leads towards the only building, there's nothing to see, not a single living soul, only death.
Such a wonderful piece of land here. I mean, it is truly astonishing and lovely to see the rest of all those souls. And I think it's very calming, isn't it?
Well, I would rather we be done with this quickly.
Me too. It's a rather interesting view.
Not everyone can share your sense of enthusiasm surrounding death.
Well, certainly not those imbeciles at Cambridge, but we should get going,
Yes,
maybe.
before he
Yes.
starts off on a rant again, please.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You approach the building in the middle. It's just a simple hut, maybe 1 or 2 rooms made of wood, some windows with curtains drawn, and a single chimney on the flat roof. And as you knock, takes a while, but a hunched mortician or undertaker with one swollen, probably infected eye, and short, dark, oily hair, wearing dirty leather boots and also muddy leather cloak, opens the door. only wide enough so he can poke his head out into the rainy night. And with a suspicious and low voice, he asks you, "Okay, now up here."
Excuse me, good sir. We are with the Doyle and Moore Private Investigative Agency. We heard there was a body admitted to you today. Only his head and torso left.
I'm sorry, it's outside of the visiting hours. Please come again tomorrow.
Tries to close the door.
Can I put my cane in between
Nice.
the door?
Yes, you can certainly
I
try.
would like to try.
Make an athletics check.
Well, 14. My athletics is
Alright.
5.
You try to put your cane in the doorstep, but he's faster and the door slams shut.
I knock again.
Come tomorrow!
I'm sorry, but the way home is very long and we already made it through this drenching weather. If you would please spare us a couple of minutes.
Door opens again, and he lets you in.
Thank you, good sir.
You see the small wooden house, just some sort of a living house, probably for the occupied partition here. Nothing fancy. His table, stool, an oven, plain bed made of hay and some cloth. And on the other side of the room, you see a workshop with woodworking tools as well as lots of coffins of all shapes and sizes. One of them lays open on the ground with something inside, covered in white linen.
Good sir, do you happen to have a sort of stool? Because this is Miss Shelby, and she is the widow in question. Do you have maybe some accommodations for her?
He points to the only stool in the room.
Please,
Sure.
please sit.
You want to see the body?
Yes.
Yes.
Follow me then, I guess.
He goes, hunched as he is, limps a little bit towards the other side of the room. Mumbles to himself.
I was just looking through his pockets. Nothing to find. Nothing to find.
So, dear gentle sir, I just have a general question. My profession is quite similar like yours. Is there any room for research here on the dead?
Put the dead beneath the ground. What the research about it?
You're probably
Stupid
right.
question.
Well, I would like to take a closer look around
Right.
the room.
Around the room or the coffin?
Yes, the coffin.
Alright,
The smaller
me too.
room.
The one, yeah.
Alright. As you reach the coffin, you only see something covered in white linen at first, with no particular shape to it. It's just a mass, approximately 3 feet in length, maybe half as much in width. And as you slowly unfold the linen, Mrs. Shelby screams and faints. Because she went with you, because she wanted to see it. And all of you can see the bloody remnants of Mr. Shelby. Eyes wide open, tongue hanging out, brown hair wet and muddy. A peaceful expression on his face, but his body resembling a butcher's workplace. All his limbs precisely severed. Only his torso remains, even his genitals are gone.
Such an interesting and beautiful specimen.
I would try to catch Miss Shelby as she
Thank
falls.
you.
You managed to do so
Okay.
without a check. And put her on the stool.
Yes.
I have no eyes for her. I go directly to the corpse. I
Good.
need to inspect it.
Investigation.
13 and my investigation skill is 19.
Alright. You inspect the body, and what you notice is that the limbs are actually very precisely severed. So this is no amateur work. Somebody knows how to saw bones who did this. That's what you know, because you have some experience in sawing bones yourself, and this is very professional work. Also, you find in one of the breast pockets, crumbled, crinkled, and nearly unreadable, this piece of paper. Maybe read it for everyone.
Yes. Well, I found a scrambled piece of paper, I guess I should read it out loud. Um, Next delivery, Hyde Park, middle of Rotten Row, midnight. Meet assistant of Dr. T. Well, the rest is missing. If you want to investigate it yourself, maybe, yeah.
I'd certainly like to take a look.
But regarding, well, the object of interest here, our dead body, this must have been a master of his craft. Well, I assume that he was a his because this mostly a men's profession took care of the dead in such a nice manner, in such a precise manner. I mean, I couldn't have done it better myself. Well, obviously not on the living specimen, that is, but it's truly beautiful, don't you think?
Listen, you are really lucky that a contractor has just fainted.
Yes.
You need to contain your excitement a bit. This is not normal.
Yes, I know. This is what they always told me, but I mean, don't you see it?
I have a lot of experience with people like you.
I don't like where this is going, but
Me neither, so let's just stop while we're ahead.
Yes.
And I have a question for you
yes,
concerning your expertise.
yes, most certainly, yes.
You see his face?
Yes, he looks rather peaceful, right?
Yes. Do you think
beautiful.
maybe... Do you think maybe his limbs were severed post-mortem?
Yes,
Is that possible?
maybe he was in such a stupor that he didn't notice. I mean, we don't know what drugs were, well, inside his body, which medicine he was given beforehand. Yes, most certainly. I mean, let me check if there's a wound maybe on his head. Maybe someone knocked him out before.
Yeah, check his whole body, but there's no evidence of any wound except the missing limbs.
Oh, so his head looks rather normal. There's no wound on it. Well, so he must have been in a stupor of some sort, either by any medicine. Maybe you have some expertise, Mr. Moore, which medicine could, well, help this fellow to be in such a restful state.
Apart from the common, is there anything that, any signs of?
Did you roll investigation for the corpse?
No, I did not.
You can if you
I
want.
had not seen the corpse
Or
before.
you
That's a 17, and my investigation is 18.
all right. You concentrate on his body and look, search for any clues, and at first you don't find anything new, but then you look inside of his mouth, and you actually find one little wet piece of cloth stuck between two of his teeth, like he was biting on it, or something was pushed inside his mouth. And as you pull it out, you smell just a faint sign of a chemical substance you know as chloroform.
Oh. Chloroform, fellow investigators. This
That's-
man is put to sleep.
So we guessed right. He must have been put in some state of stupor.
Indeed.
Well, can we investigate maybe, or have a place maybe in your laboratory or somewhere where we can find out about what exactly was used on this piece of cloth, or is it just standard chloroform?
Well, the laboratory should be free, so if we want to, we can certainly go there.
Well,
Maybe we should take a small little detour and
Yes.
bring the miss home.
Miss Shelby should
yes,
come home first.
we have
Miss Shelby is still unconscious, and you see now the mortician standing behind you with crossed arms, with one cup of tea in his hands. He's like, found anything? Didn't know you're also interested in corpses with no limbs no more. I've seen bodies without heads, bodies without the lower upper halves. Nothing biggie if you ask old Henry Gibbs.
but lately it's become rather strange. I mean, this is the third body that comes without any limbs, always keenly severed.
Is that so?
If you ask me, there's someone out there collecting arms and legs.
Oh, that would certainly be troublesome.
So, are there any other bodies here? Maybe you could...
Beneath the ground.
Oh, they're already gone. Unfortunate.
How long ago was it that you came across the other ones?
Couple days,
Couple days?
couple weeks. Don't know some more.
Do you know where they were from?
London, I guess.
Okay, but no
Oh.
specifics.
They don't tell me anything, just tell me to fucking put them fuckers down the earth.
I would like to make an insight
Alright.
check on that.
Do it.
Yeah, that's a 10 versus a 20.
He sounds like he wants to sound more important than he actually is. He doesn't know anything.
Mhm.
He's just guessing and wants to be part of the conversation.
Mhm. Well, Mr. Gibbs,
Yeah.
very well. You seem to be the man to look for if we are looking for any more information or bodies to be found. Is that correct?
Sure thing.
Very well. It's good to have your acquaintance then, and we will be coming back if there is any more. Or you can also come visit us anytime you'd like if there is any more information you might have for us to help us further this crucial investigation.
If there's some coin for me, and maybe.
Well, I own Moore's tinctures and treatments. If you have anything more to share, maybe we can twist a little on the price and I can take a look at your eye. Or
My eye?
other.
What's with my eye?
Well,
It's perfectly fine.
well, good sir. A little help never harmed anyone.
Just some precautions.
Certainly.
Well,
I think I have just the right thing for you.
He looks very skeptical.
well, we are still very grateful for your knowledge and academic merit on the dead, and we will consult you anytime soon if we need to.
Alright,
Okay.
have a good night then. And he opens the door for you.
Yes, thank
Good
you.
night, sir.
Good night, sir.
Who is carrying?
Oh, by now she comes back to life,
Oh,
and
okay,
you can
okay.
help her walk.
Yes.
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 You could also take a cab,
Okay.
which save you some time, some carriage.
Yes. I think that would be a
Alright.
good
I would
idea.
suggest so.
So you want to go to your lab, and
I suppose we should go by Miss Shelby's home first.
Yes,
Drop her off.
most certainly.
This is no work where she has to be present, so let's
Yes.
give her some rest.
All right. So, after finding the mysterious note and the bloodied remnants of what was once Mr. Shelby, our private investigators decided to bring Mrs. Shelby back to Paddington, reconciliate, look further at the evidence they found, and then eventually get some rest since it's already very late. You push through the dark, rainy night, through the dimly lit streets of London, heading back towards Paddington. You calmly discuss the matter at hand, but most of the time you're silent, each and every one of you occupied with their own dark thoughts. After you bring Mrs. Shelby to her house, she thanks and you tell her that you will give her anything you find and that she's safe for now, and she thanks you so much for your help.
If you ever need counseling, you can come by anytime.
Thank you. And afterwards, you go to your laboratory, but you do not find anything more on the matter at hand. It is indeed chloroform. But you don't know where it was made or how much it was taken. That's
Unfortunately, you don't have the technical equipment to do so at the time being.
Yes.
And so, as it is already close to 2 a.m., you agree to meet up next morning in your office to plan your next move and to hopefully shed some light on this gruesome murder case. It is around noon the following day. It is still raining. The streets are being flooded by now and consist merely of large puddles. The sun is nowhere to be seen, and the thick layer of clouds that cover the sky seems to be getting darker and denser with every hour that passes. A storm is brewing. The winds are getting stronger, the raindrops even thicker. Our private investigators are sitting in their office at Crawford Street. None of them had a pleasant sleep. Haunting dreams of severed limbs, bloody, rainy orcs, denied most of them a restful night. Over some English breakfast from a store next door, together with some hot coffee, they are discussing the pieces of information they have at hand, as well as their next steps.
So, how was your night, everybody?
Not the most pleasant that I've had.
I can only agree.
The same is true for me. I mean, it was interesting nevertheless, but yes, I didn't have the most pleasant sleep either.
Oh, I
Weirdly
didn't
enough.
take you for the squeamish type.
Stop it.
Well, dear colleagues, what is the plan for today? I would
Well-
suggest we visit our town's guards. Maybe ask them some questions about the other bodies that have been found. Maybe we can draw a connection.
Yes.
I'm only worried that we're not going to get anywhere with that.
How
The
so?
town's guard are a bunch of glorified drunkards, if we're completely honest.
We have a point.
And I am not certain that they would either like to share the information with us or that they would have any new information. But we can certainly try.
Well, their proclivity to substance abuse or alcohol abuse can also be in our favor. So, I guess we should take our chances, and maybe Mr. Moore's also, his persuasiveness maybe helps us again with finding out more details.
Well, I will certainly try my best.
I would also like to, well, how do I say this? You see, we have talked about the usage of laudanum before.
Mhm.
So, we know of a meeting place at midnight. We know of a Dr. R or a Dr. B or a Dr. T. We don't know for sure. But we know that there is certainly someone selling drugs around that corner on the street that we've been to where a body was found. I think it's worth pursuing.
Yes,
Certainly.
we should investigate that place further.
We should listen out for unsavory types dealing in drugs.
Yes.
That sounds like a good idea.
Then let's go to the scene of the crime. The Rotten Road is filled with town's guards, so we can ask our questions there probably.
Yes.
Maybe, do we know where the town's guard usually are?
Well, they have some like guard houses all across the city. There's probably one in Paddington as well.
Okay.
We don't know where it is exactly, but it's not hard to find out probably.
Okay.
Very well.
Alright, so grab your coats and once again head out into the rain. Holding your coats tight and withstanding the occasionally incoming gust of wind, you see, as you leave your office, heading from the direction of Hyde Park, past your office, 4 city watchmen carrying a stretcher with something on it. It looks like some sort of an undefinable mass covered with a wet piece of linen cloth again. And it certainly used to be white, but is completely wet and damp. But not only water, also a lot of blood has drenched the cloth. And while the rain keeps pouring down on the hurrying man, it becomes clear they're carrying a bloody corpse.
Excuse us?
Nothing to see here, folks!
No,
Let
no,
us
no.
through! Let us through!
Listen.
Hurrying past you.
Goddamn.
Maybe we should
Excuse
pursue
me,
them.
Excuse me, sir, just one short question.
They stop. What? Don't you see we have business here?
Yes, certainly, and so do we. Yesterday there was a body found in the early morning hours. Only the torso and the head left. We heard there were multiple cases. Was this another instance?
Well, don't know what happened, but yeah, some freak cut off all the limbs on this man. Fucking disgusting. Nearly spit out my breakfast when the boys called me. We're bringing him now to the guardhouse.
Who
Get him out
found
of the
him?
rain.
Who
Well, I
called
did.
you?
Like an hour ago.
But who called you? You said somebody called you to the crime scene.
No. I was called by my boys who found it. I didn't find it.
Where did you find him?
Beneath some tree over there, but if you want to see it and look at him, then follow us. We have to go now.
Certainly.
And
We
they
will.
hurry past.
Thank
they
you for
clearly
your
don't want
kindness.
the body to be seen in the streets.
Yes.
Easy.
So you're following them?
Yes.
Yes.
Alright. You follow them and they carry the stretcher towards the building of the City Watch in Paddington, so not far from you, just a couple streets off to the side. At first you are not let inside, but as the City Watch you just talked to assures that you have business with this case, you are let inside. And the City Watch who just talked to you, reddish hair, rather young, quite athletic, with horror and disgust written all over his face. He says, "Well, I'm Jimmy, and well, now you're in here. At least the rain is not coming in here." He points to the linen cloth. "Found the poor bastard beneath an old tree. Everywhere blood. Legs and arms gone. Only the body and the head are left." He chokes and has to hold his mouth. "I'm getting the captain now. Please take a look if you really want to." And he heads out of the room.
Yes.
You're alone with the
certainly.
body now in the like the
Perfect.
entrance room of the
Okay.
building.
I would certainly like to take a look at the body.
Me too.
Yes.
Investigation check.
Yep, success.
Yes. me
16.
too. 11.
Yeah. 3.
All right. As you throw down the bloodied cloth and look at the body, you now see a middle-aged man with short black hair and a well-kept moustache. The eyes are wide open and bloodshot. You also recognize the remnants of some fine clothing, but now bloodied and ripped apart. His legs and arms are again precisely severed, right at the start of the shoulders or the pelvis. You ignore your stomach, who wants to rebel and throw out its interior, and start investigating the pockets of his jacket. You quickly find out that all of his pockets are empty, but one. You find another note, wet, crumpled and nearly unreadable, but you find it nonetheless. Also on the face, again, no sign of distress. Could be also be from the use of something like chloroform.
Can I check how long or when his death occurred on his body?
Because of your proficiency in with cases like that, last night,
Oh, okay.
maybe like 6 to 10 hours ago.
Okay. So I'm checking his body and moving it around a little bit. And yes, nice, yes. His death occurred around 10 hours ago. So, well, he has not departed that long ago. Yeah, we should We should also check the scene of crime very shortly
Yes,
and
please.
swiftly.
Certainly. And this will also help us. Next delivery. Hyde Park, middle of Rotten Row, midnight. Meet assistant of Dr. Rutke.
Oh,
We have a name.
the Dr. R.
Yes.
Doc-
If you want to take a look.
Yes.
You know this name. And you have heard of him, but you're not sure who it is. You definitely know his name. Dr. Röttger is a renowned doctor that specializes in amputations. He has German roots, but grew up in London and studied medicine in Oxford. That's how you know his name.
Yes.
He served during the Napoleon Wars, and rumors say he amputated well over 1,000 infected limbs in the lazarets all across the front lines of war. He got a nickname Bone Dog from the soldiers, who lost their legs or arms but kept their lives due to Dr. Redgar. Since the war, he retired and now only works as a private doctor for the rich and wealthy. Apparently, he has a huge mansion in Fulham, southwest of the inner city.
Ah, his name seems rather familiar. I mean, I think I've seen him lecture once or twice, and I also read some books written by him. Well, I also paid for a course in amputation and, yeah, to be more
Yes.
proficient in that matter.
Yes.
Amputation.
Yes,
That's his specialty.
he's well known for that.
Yes.
Excuse me, but isn't this a bit odd?
Why so?
Well,
He's a master of his craft.
Yes, that's not my problem. God.
You should
Damn
see
it.
him with the bone saw. I mean, no one handles it like him.
Okay, Doyle, please.
Well, it certainly requires skill like his to perform.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
I've
Yes,
already
Mr.
made the connection, of course. I'm no imbecile. And I mean, yeah. I mean, his cuts, they are masterful.
Can't work with you like this. Oh.
You're just profane. You don't know anything about the art. But we are not here to discuss this matter. I don't want to further your anger anymore.
Please, just for the rest of this, try to control yourself a bit. Both of you. We're professionals.
Yes, yes, of course.
And as you're talking, the door opens and another man enters the room. He has a very adorned helmet, silver stripes on his uniform, and it appears to be the captain of this of the Paddington City Watches. He enters the room loudly, his red hair, drunkard's nose, and a very fat belly. And he comes in. What is the meaning of this? What are you doing in my watch house?
Hello, Captain.
Who are you?
I'm so glad you're here. Oh, God. Thank God someone responsible has finally entered the premises. Sir,
Captain Bryce.
Captain Bryce, yes, excuse me. You see, we have been hired by a lady who has recently and very sadly lost her husband in one of the ways very similar to how this poor sod was found. And we are trying to investigate these, he would say sensational murders. So, if you have any information for us, anything that could further this very important case, we would be much obliged for your assistance. And if we can assist you, that would be a pleasure.
Well, alright. Looks like you're proficient here, but let me have a look at the corpse. I didn't see him yet.
Certainly.
And he looks beneath the cloth. Ugh, disgusting. Well, I don't know what to say. He's fucking dead, don't you see? Limbs
Yes.
are gone. some lunatic did it. Probably like the last 3 corpses that ended like this. But I don't know what to investigate. We don't know who did it. Nobody saw it. Case closed.
I mean, a man of your authority and grand posture must have noticed the clean cuts on the limbs.
Sure.
I mean, a man of your profession and authority, yeah. I guess you have so much to do that we could take over a little bit and investigate further.
Do what you please. I want him under beneath the earth, and that's it about it.
Yes,
Just
Yes.
bury him and forget about it.
most certainly.
If you, by chance, still remember the other places where the corpses were found, we know this one was found in the
think
Hyde Park on the Rotten
In
Road.
Hyde Park. Well, I
Wasn't
think they
it?
were all found in Hyde Park. Well, that's
Okay.
actually a coincidence.
Somewhere around the Rotten Road, perhaps?
Well, yes,
Oh,
but well, that's I mean, I knew that.
Of course.
Of course.
we just wanted to
good
confirm
work.
with you.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Very well.
Yes, we are very glad to work together with such a respectable gentleman such as yourself.
Oh yes, we haven't even introduced ourselves yet, have we? How rude.
Yes, well, we are the Doyle and Moore Bureau of Investigation.
Ah, investigate. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, if you have any information about who I have to lock up, come to me.
You will be the first.
With evidence, of course.
Of course.
Of
Of
course.
course.
All right.
Do you have a recollection of who found the other 3, I think,
Some of the
bodies?
boys don't know who.
You don't
Don't
know.
keep track on who found which corpse.
No, of course not. Well, thank you very much. You've been very helpful.
Well, do what I can. Serve the city.
And thank you
Indeed.
for that. And I take his hand and shake it.
Shakes it.
Yes.
Oh well. I think that concludes our business, at least in this room.
Yes.
Good day, sir.
Good day.
I leave the room.
Right. You all leave the room and stand once again in the rainy Paddington.
I never had a chance
Early
to get
afternoon.
dry.
What you doing?
Should we check the place of the murder?
Yes.
Certainly.
Yes, I think.
I'd be curious to see if there were more hairs or bone shards.
And scratch marks.
Yes. Maybe we should talk to the other guards here as well. Just try our luck. Maybe someone still remembers where exactly the other corpses are found.
And I would like to talk to a guard without mentioning the murders, please, because I would like to inconspicuously inquire about possible opium dealers around here.
That's
It
a
seems
good.
rather suspicious that both of the victims we've encountered, have had dealings with the same assistant.
That's true.
Sure. Yes.
You take the lead on this.
Yes.
Sure.
Unusual, but those are new times.
Indeed they are.
So lead the way.
Well, let's go.
So you're going to the Hyde Park? Or where?
Yes.
Alright. You head through the rain and try to avoid the big puddles of water. But you can't help it, you are completely drenched again in just a couple of minutes. No raincoat can withstand this amount of water that's pouring down from the skies. And you're not sure if the sky will ever close again and the sun would ever show again. But after a while you arrive in Hyde Park and the sun not visible but some daylight guiding your path. You quickly approach again at the big old oak tree which where you once before were. And again you see some splatters of blood. Not many, and probably the rain washed away most of the blood already. But if you want, there's apparently a new crime scene here. can investigate.
Yes.
Same oak?
Same oak. I guess you wanted to see the same oak first. And
Yes.
there you see some blood, so it probably was the crime scene.
Okay.
There are also some city watches around here. Not exactly where you are, but in like screaming distance.
Shall
Well,
we
I
look at the
would
crime scene first?
Give it a look over and
Right.
then
Me
head
too.
over to the
Let's do
guards.
it again. I will leave you to it.
That's an 11
That's an
out of
18,
18.
but I have
Alright.
19.
Like once again, bone fragments, blood splatters in the grass, and new, fresh fingernail marks in the bark of the tree. And now it seems pretty clear that someone or something climbed up the tree, probably just using his fingernails. Because they go up and then vanish at a certain level of height.
Okay.
Do we find hair again?
Yes, one more strain of hair actually, hanging from one of the higher branches of the tree.
How peculiar.
Well, gentlemen, I
Well,
will be watching from down here.
Well,
Should I take your hats?
I think Mr. Moore is rather the athletic type. I presume. I mean, I spend my time more with books.
And
Yes.
corpses?
And yes, of course.
I'll take off my hat. Hand it to Miss
You're doing us a great
Slotowska.
service.
You can call me Ada, it's fine.
Very well. And I'll try to climb the tree.
All right, make an athletics check.
Nope.
Unfortunately, your fingernails are not that strong and long, and the tallest branches are just a meter above your head, and your arm don't quite reach. As you try to climb up the bark, it's too slippery, too wet, and you actually face plant the earth, and all your coat and your face is very muddy, and you have to admit you probably won't be able to climb this tree right now.
Well, that's rather unfortunate.
Yes.
Should I give it my best?
Indeed. Oh yes, please.
Sure.
Ah,
Should I take
Oh.
your cane?
yes. I think it's not much of a help here.
I'll try and help you up. Maybe I can at least save some of my dignity.
You wanna
Ada's
boost-
watching
boost
very
him?
amusedly.
Then you can make an advantage check, so you can roll twice.
Okay. Nope. 10 and 12.
Even with the help from Archibald, you are probably very sharp and strong in mind, but not so much with your muscles or your dexterity. So you also have to, capitulate. You will not be able to climb this tree today.
I'm a natural philosopher, not a natural climber, so
Oh, I think
Ah.
your efforts were remarkable, gentlemen. A treat,
Well,
as always.
well.
at least you're pleased.
Yes.
Very.
Hell. Where are the guards?
So, let's. Yeah. By the way, can we maybe make out some footprints or anything?
You probably could if there wasn't this strong and heavy rain since days, and all the ground is completely muddy, and the only footprints you find that are not washed away are yours.
Okay. Now, this is rather embarrassing, but I guess we have to get some of those, well, less intelligently endowed guards to do the heavy lifting for us.
Yes.
Well, let me check one thing. And I would like to just circle the tree for a bit and just see if there's anything like anything else. Just anything out of the ordinary.
On the other side of the tree, you don't find the finger imprints, fingernail prints. But yeah, nothing special.
Looking up into it?
also look up. Nothing to see there.
Is it, I don't know what time of year it is, so is it
It's autumn.
leaf? It's autumn, so
There are
it's
no
losing.
leaves in the tree.
Okay, okay.
It's like late autumn.
Well, nothing around here either.
Yes. So it was a rather fruitless search, but well, we know that something must have climbed the tree,
Yes.
Yeah.
used their fingernails or well, claws rather would be the right term. I don't know if you have any idea what kind of creature could A, produce such marks, and well, secondly, climb a tree like that and be present at the murder scene, most peculiarly at all.
I only know of rare accounts of inhuman strength in dire situations, but
Yes.
I don't think this quite fits the description.
Hmm.
Me neither. What I am wondering, though, there was one death from the night 2 days ago to yesterday. There was another death from yesterday to today. I would like to know when the other bodies were found. If this is a regular occurrence, well, we know when they meet. We
Yes.
know where they meet.
So we should meet him.
No.
Maybe not we ourselves, but maybe we can pitch the idea to our faithful protectors.
What I ask myself is that, well, this road must be guarded, and, well, this can't be just coincidence that, well, some guards might look the other way or won't see enough to know what's happening around here. So we should be very, well, we should be very cautious about talking too much with the
Yeah.
guards.
Yes, I agree.
But I think figuring out on what dates the murders occurred might still be of help.
Yes.
To figure out if this was a coincidence, that it happened 2 days in a row, or if this is, well,
Something
more structure.
Yes. Yes. So let's find us some guards and talk with them.
Yes.
That is no problem. There are a few guards strolling around Hyde Park, and you just have to go up or down the Rotten Row in any direction. And after a short while, you find two wandering guards, one blonde, one darkish hair, both pretty young fellas, maybe mid-20s. Yeah, having dark raincoats over their heads as well, and wandering towards you. Evening.
Evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, lads, one short question. I myself am Archibald Moore, working for Doyle St. Moore's private investigative agency. We're taking a look at the murder cases that happened on the road. We were wondering if you, for a change, knew when the other murders occurred. We know one occurred tonight, one yesterday, but we heard there were at least 2 more cases in recent history.
But the other one says to the other, didn't they occur like... Oh yeah, you're right. Well, we just heard some rumors and some talk from the other guards, but I think they all occurred around here, and pretty much during the last 2 weeks.
During.
There was no muster or something, like
Very well.
No patterns.
no pattern.
Might
Not that I know.
Apart from all the missing limbs.
Well, yeah, there were missing limbs and they were at night, but other than that, I mean, pretty disgusting. And last night I had my shift. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything
On
And
this
then-
road.
on this row.
And you didn't notice anything
No.
strange.
And then this morning I got called in that how I could not see the murder happening.
Around when was your shift, if I may ask?
8 to 2 in the morning,
So right around that time.
something like this.
Yeah.
On another note, entirely, we have also noticed a couple of problems with illegal acquirance of laudanum. Have you noticed any strange dealings lately?
Well, nothing more than the usual. Sometimes there are shady people walking down the streets here, but I mean, it's autumn. Don't know if it's some nice folk wearing a big hoodie, raincoat, or some shady people always wearing these coats. Not quite sure. Also, laudanum is not a legal substance. And I don't know who is allowed to have it or not. Well, I myself like to drink it.
Well,
So say, dear gentlemen, do you know, well, how long do you patrol this road? Are you patrolling this road any day of any hour of the day, or are there some, well,
There are
gaps?
watches at any point of the day in Hyde Park.
Okay. And you and your watch have, well, never seen anything
No,
suspicious?
the watches all found the bodies, but they were all already dead, obviously, when they were found.
I mean, you two seem like, well, very honorable guards.
Of course, we are.
Well, do you think there are maybe, well, less honorable men such as yourself and your fellow in your own ranks?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, the boys are all pretty high on drinking, but who isn't in this fucking city?
Well, and how about any businesses on the side? I mean, you wouldn't concern yourself with such things, I presume, but how about, well, maybe some of the others? Making a little bit of money on the side. This is nothing on record, so to say, but, well, maybe you can give us something.
Don't know what you're talking about, son. Excuse me. I have to go now. Don't like where this is going. We City Watch patrol the streets, and we make sure that you folks can go freely and secure in your lives.
yes, you keep the scum off the streets, right?
Exactly.
That's good, because, you know, as you might know, I am not from here. I've studied very hard to come here, though, because London is such a great city, and I feel very safe and protected around here, you understand? So, I know how hard it can be to live in cities where you have to be cautious every time of the day, for anything could happen. We are very glad for your services here.
Well, you always have to be cautious, madam.
Yes.
London is a big street. Can't watch all fucking inhabitants here.
No, and I presume you wouldn't know where I should look out for most.
Well, don't walk alone through Hyde Park for beginning at night,
Very wise.
or any other park. I don't know. Just shouldn't be alone in the streets at all, I guess, at night.
I'm just very glad that I can trust that the guards here themselves are not involved in any shady business.
Yeah.
Right?
Damn right.
Damn right. I would like to make an
Do it.
you know what I mean. An insight check, yeah, thanks. Yeah, 7.
Alright. He's not very smart, and he's very proud, and he also didn't like when you were kinda implying that some of the guards are not as honorable as others. So he has some loyalty probably to his colleagues and friends. But he also does not lie, and he was very honest about that he serves the city and tries to get rid of the scum of the streets, like you said.
Well, Sir
Peters.
Peters, yes. Thank you again very much for your time, and we don't want to keep you from your work, seeing as it's so important.
No worries. Ma'am, gentlemen,
Have a good day.
walk on. Good day.
Well, this.
Okay, listen.
Yes.
You I know, I'm very aware that you are the insensitive type, to put it lightly.
What do you mean?
Listen, if we want to get anywhere with this investigation, we need to be careful about the questions we ask and how we ask them.
But we need to prove our hypotheses. I mean,
We can do that in a more delicate manner.
well, you do the delicate talking the next time.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes, I think that's for the best. If you have any additions, I am glad to hear of them first. You can also just, well, we can work on your phrasing a bit.
Yes, and sure. But
Just-
one thing we forgot though. We need someone to climb that tree. Maybe. We have not yet acquired any knowledge on the tree, and I guess, well, there will be some answers on further marks, maybe.
Maybe.
Very possible.
On the other hand,
To phrase it delicately.
there's nothing to see from down here at least.
Well, at least that.
And it's not like it's covered in leaves.
Or body parts.
Yes.
Hopefully.
No body parts to be seen.
Well, let's just be careful of who we accuse of what.
Yes. Now, I think we should stay this night, or maybe if we go somewhere else, come back tonight and maybe look at, well,
At least at around midnight.
We
yes.
should maybe see this Dr. Rotker.
I was about to
Yes,
say the same thing.
we have to just first, well, know where does he live actually. I met him a few times, and he's a wonderful fella. I mean, he's so smart, and his work is just amazing. But
You're fascinated by him, we've established that. As far as I know, he does own a manor in the southern parts of the city.
He must have much money.
Fulham?
Fulhampton.
Fulhampton. That's at least the last that I've heard.
Yes, so well, maybe we can go there and we can ask around if we can find his mansion, his house, and
Fulham, sorry.
It should be easy to find, I
Yes.
wager.
A
yes.
person as prominent as he is, certainly.
All right. The dark sky breaks, and the already strong rain becomes an orkan. Strong winds are howling, merciless through the streets. Stores and merchants quickly save their goods, and the busy streets come to a halt as the full force of the autumn storm unloads upon London. After hours of pushing against the wind, your cloaks and capes completely soaked, you stand before a huge mansion, towering down on you from the flat hill it is placed on. It resembles a typical old wooden manor house, 3 stories high with dozens of great glass windows. A vast, bewildered garden stretches around the house, with an iron door blocking the path up the hill towards the front door. And although magnificent in size, you also see the dark brown paint on the facade is already beginning to peel off, and all windows are covered with heavy black curtains. And as you enter the garden, the gate makes a loud creaking noise, but is completely swallowed by the storm. You can only scream to each other as the sheer volume of the storm overpowers most of the other sounds. But the sound of the garden, of the gate, is apparently enough to alert 2 massive black and brown freckled German Shepherd dogs. They bark and run headfirst towards you, but are stopped just before your noses by thick chains locked around their necks.
My god.
Oh, impressive animals.
Very welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe I should try my wisdom with dogs. Maybe I tried that once. Sitz. Ah, doesn't seem to budge.
Well, you see that they actually recognize you're German, but they don't listen to you.
Well, I mean, what else should I have tried? But
Well, maybe we should. Is there maybe a knocker?
Well, there is, but you would have to go past the dogs, and they look pretty scary, and if they're about to, rip you apart if you enter the state.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
now, I mean, well, has anyone any knowledge of how to calm them down?
Food.
Chloroform.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
Honestly, I don't think that would work very well. Probably at the cost of a hand.
at least.
I think I should keep my hands.
Me too.
Yes.
So,
But food is a good idea. Maybe we can find out, well, a butcher where we can acquire some meat maybe and, well, try to persuade those dogs to let us pass with a little snack.
Is there anyone outside that we can talk to, or
Actually, you're waiting and talking and trying to figure out what to do with these dogs as the door opens. You see beneath the garden some stairs up, the main gate or main door of the big mansion, great dark oak wooden double doors. They open and you see a stiff standing and well-clad man in his late 50s. Receding hairline, he holds an oil lantern in his hand. He opens the door and comes into the rain, stands between the barking dogs who they ignore him, and they still restlessly jump against their tightened chains, which rattle and squeak every time they move. He addresses you surprisingly calm, but still loud enough to stand against the storm, while still standing like 20 meters away from you, under the canopy of the dark mansion. And in a very strong German accent, he addresses to you. What is it that you want from Dr. Röttger on such a, he looks to the sky, unfortunate day?
Oh, hello, Dr. Röttger. My name is Dr. Herbert Doyle. Maybe you remember me. I mean, we can talk in German if you'd like, but my company, I guess, well, they would like to know what we are talking about to such an
Not
important
Dr.
person.
Röttger, it's a servant.
Oh, well, I didn't see that, of course, at first.
He says, what do you want? I can't really hear you. Wait a minute. Werner! Rüdiger! Aus! Zurück in eure Hütten! And the dogs immediately go quiet and go back, making the way free for you to approach the house. Are you approaching?
yes,
Yes.
certainly.
As you come closer, he says, well, I'm not Dr. Röttger, as you clearly can see now, but
Yes.
I'm his servant, Albert. And if you wish to speak to him, he's, well, not feeling as good today. I'm afraid to tell you that you have to wait until tomorrow or next week or something.
Well, what was his name again?
Albert.
Albert.
If you could just spare us a couple of minutes, it really won't take long, I can
Yeah,
promise that.
Could we maybe find shelter in the foyer?
I mean, it's such a city shower, as you
Yes.
could call, if you could call it like that. It would be, well, nice to find some refuge.
Well, well, well. Alright. Follow me. I will bring you to Dr. Röttger. But he will not be pleased. That's what I can tell you.
Vielen Dank, Albert.
He acknowledges this German and lets you in inside the manor proper. The manor itself is only sparely lit. The wind is howling through holes in the roof, and dust covers most of the furniture. The entrance hall is magnificent but dull and dark. A couple of large wooden doors lead out of the room, but the servant leads you straight up a creaking wooden spiral staircase to the first floor. A long, dark corridor with many doors, only lit by a few oil lamps, lays before you. Huge paintings of British landscapes and scenes of men hunting or fighting adorn the otherwise blank walls. And then, through a huge double wooden door, you enter some sort of a salon or lounge. You see large, expansive tapestries, dozens of pairs of antlers hanging on the walls. Also more paintings and a few dull leather sofas next to a small mini bar, overloaded with expensive bottles of alcohol. Next to the huge windows, the curtains also completely drawn, you see a large crackling fireplace made of stone and iron. In front of the flames you see a leather armchair with someone sitting inside it, but facing away from you and apparently looking into the flames. Good. As you all enter, Albert clears his throat and announces the guests. Dr. Röttger, hier sind einige Ermittler, die Sie sprechen wollen. Anscheinend hat irgendetwas... Sie haben mir nicht gesagt, warum, aber wenn Sie einige Minuten hätten... you don't understand what he's saying, only you do.
Yeah, he just announced us.
Oh, thank you.
Silence. Then Dr. Röttger replies, but still not turning in his chair. And you hear a crackling old, weak and tired voice. Lass sie hier. Bring mir mehr Fisch, Albert. And the servant replies, Sehr wohl, Doctor. And then leaves on the spot without looking at you again. And still, without turning towards you, Dr. Röttger addresses you now in English. So, what can I do for you? I'm a retired old man, and I do not care about anything that happens outside of my estate.
Have you heard what's happening outside of your estate?
Like I said, I don't fucking care.
Oh, Herr Doctor, well, we should talk English probably for, well, the likeness of your guests and my colleagues. I just wanted to thank you for all of your lectures. I mean, you're retired now, but we've learned so much from you. And I read all your publications, especially the one about the 5mm bone saw. It was magnificent. A true piece of art.
What's your point, Speichellecker?
Well, how to phrase this delicately, I will continue in English if that's okay with you, Doctor.
Sure.
Well, well, maybe my colleague
You can
wants
all
to...
make an investigation check, by the way, if you want,
Yeah,
Yes.
while you talk.
Yep. 10.
so how have you been, Dr. Röttger?
Yeah.
Well,
13.
maybe you don't want to stick to formalities. That's okay, that's, well, I guess our German heritage, German culture.
My well-being is none of your concern. Even if you watch some of my academical doings or not. Like I said, I don't care. I want my peace. I'm retired. And I do not wish to talk to strangers. So what is it that brings you here?
Oh,
what do you roll on the investigation?
10.
13
so
for
success.
15.
So you success.
So,
Again, if you want.
okay. Yes, success.
All right. So while he's talking to you, he still does not turn, but with some lightning occurring outside, you notice a figure moving behind the curtains, ever so faintly illuminated by lightning. Could be a person, but you're not sure. And also another thing, what you notice, between the large amount of alcohol bottles, you also see at least 4 or 5 empty and also full bottles of laudanum.
Well,
As-
Dr. Edgar,
Excuse me.
Melody, please.
Thank you. You see, we do not intend to bother you for very long. We are already very happy that we are allowed to enter here during this fairly disgusting weather. So I would like to keep your precious time for you. We are here on behalf of our investigation concerning extremely interesting murders, to say the least. Our colleague here, who you've already met, Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
has, well, how shall I put it in your words, come across an intriguing discovery. Some corpses that have been found missing arms, legs, and other parts of themselves, rather cleanly cut. And seeing as you're the reigning expert in this area on this field, we would like to consult with you on this matter, if you would have us.
Alright. At first he doesn't answer. But suddenly he starts to get up, turns, and now stands in front of you. And although barely illuminated, for the first time you are able to see his face. Dark, large bags beneath his eyes, a wrinkled old face. Only a few grey hairs are left, his face unshaven, unclean, with bits of his last meal hanging in his white, wild beard. He wears a rather elegant blue bathrobe, but over and over covered in what seems to be mustard, spit, liquor, and other liquids you cannot identify. He stumbles a few feet towards you. In one hand, half-empty bottle of absinthe, in the other, a nearly empty bottle of laudanum. And it looks like the usual laudanum you would also sell in your stores.
Yes.
And he says with his deep voice, cracking, "For your interest, dear investigators. Well, I am retired, like I said, and I have cut off more limbs than I could count. But I also saved more lives than I could ever count. And I do not wish to be bothered again with my old life. I have closed this chapter, and I will not look, cut, or talk about any severed limbs anymore until I fucking die." Spit
Inside.
hanging out of his face. Alright, do an insight check. You again see the figure behind the curtain illuminated again with another lightning.
10.
6. Success.
Your
Success.
He is honest. He does not wish to have any part, like to take part in any talking or exercising his old craft, and he is very annoyed with you, with you talking to him, or being in his estate.
Dr. Röttger, ich habe eine Frage an Sie. Haben Sie noch einen anderen Gast hier, von dem wir wissen sollten?
Hä?
Well, I switch back to English. I think I've seen something.
Welcher andere Gast?
Well, nun, schauen Sie mal hinter dem Vorhang.
He looks through the curtain and then screams, "Johann, komm raus!
Geh auf dein Zimmer! And you see a relatively tall young man in a purple-red jester costume stepping from out of the curtain. Only his face and his hands are visible. He has dark, bushy eyebrows, clean-shaven face. All his other body parts are hidden in the jester costume. But you also have a glimpse at his fingers, and his nails are extremely long and sharp. He grins at you, bows, and then skips out of the room, not making any sound. Dr. Röttger explains, "Don't mind him. It's only my retarded son. Always dresses up in silly outfits and plays hide and seek. Does not care if nobody's playing with him. He's part of why," looks at the laudanum bottle in his hands, "I've retired."
Why, if I may ask, are you referring to him as retarded? I am an alienist myself.
'Cause he's a fucking idiot. Doesn't talk. Can't even follow the easiest instructions. And since, well, that's not any of your business, I guess. So what is it you want?
Could I perhaps...
Can we have a talk with him?
Can try.
Maybe I can ease in your burden with him.
I don't fucking care. I only want to die in peace.
Then
Is
we
that
will
too much to ask for?
Not at all. We will leave you to it and talk to your son.
Then go! And he throws the bottle of laudanum at you.
We have to dodge.
Well, he does hit you with the bottle. And you take 2 points of damage. Leave!
Well,
I think there's nothing more to discuss here.
are you okay?
Do I look okay?
I tried to delicately phrase my concern for you. I'm sorry. Here,
Do
take
you-
this handkerchief and maybe that helps.
Thank you. And I pick out like a small piece of glass from my face. Well, frankly, the laudanum is not doing him any good, and it's not exhibiting its calming properties at all.
No, it certainly is not.
I guess that must have been, well, must have something to do with this mixture with alcohol, but I'm no expert on that.
As you're talking, you're standing now in the corridor of the first floor. There are a few other doors and a staircase leading up to the second floor. From Albert, the servant, no sign. And the salon tours, or the doors to the salon just close again after you have left it.
I'm
You're
rather
alone on the corridor.
I'm rather sad to see him in such a wretched state. I mean, he was such a well, person of knowledge and academic merit. But
Well, right now he certainly seems to have a bit too much of yellow bile in his system. Oh well.
well, should we go talk to his son? I mean, just
Certainly, I suspect you've seen it as well.
yes, we should be, yeah, very careful, I guess.
The fingernails.
Yes. Maybe we should all be, well, be prepared for the worst.
I certainly am.
So now we need to find out where, well, if he's even in his room, where he hides or where he is at right now.
You could investigate the first floor,
Yeah.
Yes.
or you could straight head up to the second floor if you want.
Just should we maybe take a look around here?
Yes.
I would say so.
As long
Not
as we
that
can.
there's something here that
Roll an investigation check.
would come back to bite us later.
Oh. Do I
Yep,
have to
me too.
underroll it?
Mhm.
A 15 to a 15.
Who did it?
9 to an 8.
Right.
9 to an 18.
Together with your combined investigation skills, you quickly investigate the first floor. Because you find mostly empty, dusty rooms. Apparently the only room that is actually being used is the salon, and also the room of Albert, which is on the other side. The room of Albert is very ordinary, nothing fancy, some cloths, chamber pot, some cheap novels, but
nothing else that would cause any suspicions. Also, you find a dusty dining room with some expansive but completely dusty chandeliers, and a few other guest rooms, probably, or old living rooms with no function anymore. The rest of the floor is empty. No.
Well,
He did mention he likes to play hide and seek.
well, I think
Albert is the servant.
Yes.
Oh. Then I meant Johann.
You don't find any room that looks like Johann's or Dr. Redker's room. It's probably on the second floor.
I think it is better that way that his servant is not here right now while we conduct our research. But maybe we should, well, if his son really likes hide and seek, well, then we should try our best to seek him out and, well, but do so very delicately. We don't know what he's capable of, or well, maybe
Well.
we do know.
So my first guess is right. He certainly is not as incapable as his father likes to present him.
What time of day is it?
It's like 5 p.m. now.
5 p.m. Okay.
So you head up to the second floor
Yes.
Mhm.
and start investigating,
Yes.
Yes.
and do an investigation check.
Yeah.
Yep.
3.
Natural 1.
All right, nice. You go ahead and sneak up to the second and final floor of the manor. You quickly find the room of Dr. Redker. Very large, huge bed. Nice tapestries, carpets, and lots of books and large shelves all at all sides of the room. Also, a workplace, some desks, some letters, and as you go through them, you stumble upon a few letters to his attorney that indicate that Dr. Redker is actually not willing to inherit anything to his son. That he is planning his, or that he's suspecting his death soon, and that he wants to make sure that his son will not get anything of his wealth. Also, you find a painting beneath his bed, covered with some linen, of a woman, and with some further investigation from the documents, the letters, and also some family books or whatever. It indicates that this woman is Dr. Redker's wife, who passed away 5 years ago, just before he came back from war.
Well,
Also, afterwards, also you find hundreds of laudanum bottles, all empty, beneath Dr. Redker's bed. Like dozens, hundreds. Then you find another room, possibly from Johann Redker. You see deep marks of fingernails scratching in the walls. Also everywhere chalk paintings of trees. Great trees, nearly resembling oak trees. You look further and you find an empty bottle of chloroform, which you very quickly identify, beneath his bed. Also a notebook with patient information from Dr. Redker. And on his bed and on his pillow you find long, thin wisps of black hair. The same hair you found at the crime scene. And in a corner of the room, at last, you find a large leather bag. And as you look inside of it, it's completely covered in dried blood from the inside.
well, I believe that, well, no one needs to possess the deduction skills of a master to find out what.
Ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, I think it's time to get out of here.
I need to speak with the assistant. We need to talk to him.
Well,
I do not think this is the time for this right now.
I need to agree with Mr. Moore here. We should.
We need to take evidence.
Yes, most certainly. We should. We
Mhm.
should maybe take
The bag.
the bag with us, and maybe, yes, maybe some strands of the hair. I mean, I have a matching pair right in my pocket.
I would
Yes.
like to keep an eye out and look for the boy.
All right.
Or
As
young
you're
man, I
talking,
guess.
You're standing, probably a young man, yeah. He's like in his 20s. That's what you could see from the jester costume,
Mhm.
anyways. As you're talking and standing in his room, you look towards the corridor, and then, with lightning once again illuminating his silhouette, as he stands suddenly in front of you, Albert, with a percussion rifle pointed directly at you. And he says, "I must urge you to leave this estate now, or we'll let the dogs out on you. This is private, and you have no right to be here. Leave now!"
Certainly.
Yes.
Certainly.
We will.
Certainly.
We will leave, and there's no need to cause any calamity.
Just shut up.
So you're going
Mhm. Yes.
down.
I only have one hand up. I was about to say that Archibald is pulling out one of his chloroform
And prepares it.
Syringes.
syringes
All right.
and holds that behind his back so the
Alright.
servant doesn't see it.
Easy enough if you're not the last one to walk.
Yes.
He leads you down, and as you pass the salon in the first floor, Dr. Rutger hears the noise of your footsteps and calls in, "Albert! Albert! Komm her! Sofort! Der Fisch! Er redet! Ich brauch mehr! Mehr Laudanum! Albert!" Albert looks at you with the rifle still in his hands. "Leave now!"
We're on our way out.
Right.
No
Yes.
trouble.
And he heads inside the salon and leaves you at the upper staircase.
Okay. I go for it.
What do you do? He leaves you alone in the first
Mhm.
corridor again
Okay.
and just goes inside to see
Okay.
what Dr. Ritko wants.
As he walks out of the room, I have still the syringe in my hand. What do you think? I would say we call the guards.
Do we need to look for Johann? Or do we just go?
I think we run.
We don't know where he's about.
We don't.
And
But
this
we
is-
might have a good guess. Okay.
Yes, but
Yes.
this is too much for us right now. A syringe doesn't hold up against a rifle.
So you slowly go back down towards the
Mhm.
entrance hall.
Yes.
All right. As you come into the entrance hall once more, you just see one of the doors falling shut. It's not the entrance door, but on the other side, and apparently someone must have just gone through it.
That must have been him, huh? There are not that many people in this house, I
Mm-hmm.
presume. Should we pursue? I mean, now is our chance, but I understand if you want to be safe.
Do we trust the guards to take care of this?
No.
Well, they wouldn't even
No.
see a murder if it happened right in front of them, so
Seems that way. Very well.
let's go.
Should
go
one of us
first.
keep guard at the door?
Well, I mean,
How are we going to go out even with the dogs?
Archibald is going to look around for a chair or something that he can put in front of the door that leads to Dr. Itgar's room.
In the first floor.
No, I think he was on the bottom floor when he called out for a servant.
Oh no, that was when you were passing the first floor.
Okay.
Okay,
And then you're down on the ground floor.
okay. And Albert went into a room in the first floor or the ground
On the
floor?
first floor, in the salon.
Okay.
And now someone else apparently just closed the door that leads away from the entrance hall, but not
Okay.
outside of the estate.
Okay. Archibald would try to block the salon door.
Okay. So you head back up.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll just, if there's a door handle, I'll try to find a chair or something to
Mhm.
press underneath it,
There's
so
actually
they can't press down the handle and get
a
out.
nice chair standing just next to the double oak doors to the salon, and quickly enough you can just put it beneath the door handle. And
Okay.
as you listen, you hear the voice of Albert. You don't
Mhm.
know German,
No.
but it's some German speaking calmly with Dr. Redgar, and it's, I mean, from the tonation, it appears to you that he's calming him down somewhere.
Mhm.
That Albert calms Dr. Redgar down.
Okay. I'll walk back down. Okay, that should have bought us some time. I don't know what they're talking about, but it sounds calmer than before. As calm as German sounds.
Let's hope he doesn't shoot his way out. We should hurry.
Certainly.
Yes.
Right. As you go closer, you see that the door that just fell shut is indeed the entrance to the basement. And you also hear soft steps from below,
Coming up or fading?
fading.
Well, I think looking at the two of you, I should be the one to go first.
If you don't mind, I don't need to put my life on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you don't
Oh.
mind,
Oh,
Mr.
no.
Moore.
I'm pretty sure I, at least a bit stronger built than you are.
Well-
so I'll ready
Mr.
my
Moore?
syringe.
May
Yes.
I have one of your syringes for self-defense purposes?
Well, I do have one spare, so I'll hand that over.
Oh, pray, I haven't shown you my cane, right? It has a special function, and I unsheathed the sword a little bit inside of it.
Well,
I
then
didn't
I'll take.
expect that.
Well,
Me neither.
living in London can be, well, rather an exciting place, right? So,
Less talking, more moving.
right.
Certainly.
As you head down the stone-carved steps into the basement, it is utterly dark. It smells like rotten wood and urine. And also you hear some whistling red sounds from almost everywhere around you. You all stand next to each other when you suddenly hear a dull, low thumping sound. Archibald, you touch to the wall and feel, and you identify an oil lamp which
Mhm.
is attached to the staircase. You lift it, and Ada, you have some flint and some steel in your purse, and you manage to ignite the oil lamp. You now can see again, and what you can see is that you are standing in a large wine cellar. Huge barrels are resting row after row after row. On the other end of the room, you just hear another door closing, falling shut again. And you also notice that Herbert Doyle is missing. You're in the wine cellar of Haus Röttger. The rain and the thunderstorm outside are now only barely noticeable. In the light of your oil lamp, you see the faces of your colleagues, but Herbert is missing, and as you realize that he's missing, you also hear a door somewhere on the other side of the room falling shut. Also on the ground before you, a damp piece of cloth.
Bloody hell.
Herbert, where are you? Shit.
I think we're on our own.
What's this?
Don't know. I'll walk over to the.
You look at the
Cloth.
cloth.
I
You don't
can-
have to roll because it is clearly the stench is so noticeable for you. This is chloroform and freshly used
Mm-hmm.
usage of chloroform. Also, as you pick it up, you see in the layer of dust and dirt on the ground some marks that hint at someone or something has been dragged away from you deeper inside of the cellar.
Well, chloroform. I'll toss it to the side.
Maybe we
Still
can
re-
keep it.
Still relatively fresh. I don't want to have that in my system. If we survive this, we can pick it up later.
I mean, for maybe sedating, I don't know, Johann?
Maybe. I'll pick it back up and carefully put it in my back pocket. And make sure that I do not inhale the fumes.
Yeah. With your profession, it's not a big issue for you to do so.
Only one way.
Only one way.
Let's hope Herbert's in there.
Let's hope so.
As you walk carefully through the dark room, circling around the huge old barrels of wine, you hear red noises scuttling away from you. And you also hear the storm and the rain becoming ever so slightly louder. As you stand in front of the door that has just fallen shut on the other side of the cellar, the noise is getting even louder. The door must lead outside into the garden. You try it, but it's blocked. Can't open it. Something on the other side is blocking the way.
Is there a keyhole? Or what's keeping it shut?
Is there a keyhole?
There's a keyhole,
Okay.
and as you look through it, you see with another lightning occurring outside what must be the garden, some stairs leading up, and you also see some wooden shelves or other objects blocking the doorway, pushed against it. So
Okay.
Shit.
Blocked.
Yes. It's some heavy bookshelves.
Okay. What's on the other side, apart from the
Well,
bookshelves?
it looks to be, I don't know, a staircase?
Staircase outside.
Was it?
Okay. I don't think, unless we can find any other door in here, I think there's only the exit. So circle around, go through the garden.
you could attempt to push your way through the door if you would like to.
I would like to look in the room if we find anything
Okay.
useful.
Okay.
I only have this letter opener with me.
True. Let's give it just a short look over.
Right, roll some investigation for me.
Yep, that's a success.
Me too.
It's very dusty in here. With the oil lamp, you're discovering the rest of the room. Most of these barrels probably lay here since decades, not touched. Some seem to be open or in use, but mostly the ones closer to the staircase that leads up towards the main entrance or through the main hall. And other than red shit, dust, and other objects laying in the dirt, nothing else to be seen. But clearly there are dragging marks leading towards the door you just found, which is blocked from the other side.
Okay.
Well, unless we want to get drunk, only one way to go.
Only one way to go. Let's try and push this open.
I will help you.
You can both make an athletics check.
Nope.
You both roll with advantage if you push at
Well,
the same time. So you can both
not
roll with advantage.
Not necessary. I had a success.
You had a
I
success?
still-
Rolled an 8 and my score is 12.
Right.
Nope.
Well, with other helping you, but out of necessity, activating your inner strength, you push against the door once, twice, and at the third time, with a big, loud crashing sound, the door gives way. And the vast garden of the Redgers estate lays before you. You're at the bottom of a staircase leading up towards the garden. The rain coming down, pressing against your face, dark clouds towering over you, and now lightning occurring every few seconds, here and there, but very, very close. You seem to be in the middle of the storm. You go up the staircase, and now you stand in the middle of the garden. See huge trees, unkept grassland, and tall bushes, all illuminated by some moonlight, but mostly by lightning.
Okay. Do we see the dragging marks continue?
You can make an investigation check to look for them.
Certainly gonna do that. Natural 1.
Nice.
17.
Well, it's too dark for you, and your eyes didn't really adapt yet to the changing surroundings, but you, with your keen and proficient senses, you quickly make out some dragging marks that go across the grassland, away from the estate, around a few bushes and a few tall trees. And as you follow, you turn around a few bushes, and you suddenly stand in front of a crypt. The crypt is made out of stone with intricate ornaments. The name Redgar is engraved into the stone across the entrance, which leads down some slippery stairs towards the underground tomb. Moss, dirt, and rain have sullied the outside of the crypt. A rusty iron gate is before you, but opened. The gate swings wildly and perpetually opens and closes with loud shrieking sounds taken by the strong gusts of wind.
Oh well, only fitting.
This seems too much like a trap.
On the other hand, where is our colleague? You?
No.
Looking at this? He's in there.
Kurva.
I suspect that means something like shit. So yes, Kova.
You descend.
I don't think we have much of a choice.
Take one last look around to make sure I don't see Herbert.
You don't see anybody, just the billowing trees, the wet grasslands, and perpetually occurring strikes of lightning.
Okay. Ada,
I
I'll go first.
have a syringe at the ready.
Mhm. One hand holding the oil lamp, the other
Yes.
the syringe. You descend the relatively short staircase. And as you enter the dark crypt, you see it only consists of one 60 feet long corridor. Stone pillars to both sides, which are holding the arched ceiling. Everything is made of dark, raw stone and resembles a Gothic style of architecture. In front of you, you can barely see a stone altar on the end of the corridor. And you see something that you cannot identify laying in front of it. And also a bizarre shape on top of the altar. And it comes with a disgusting stench of decay and death that impede your senses, making it hard to press on without vomiting. And as you come closer, and with your oil lamp just barely illuminating the crypt, you see your friend, Herbert, laying in front of the altar on the ground. He is breathing, but unconscious. You rush closer to help him, and now you can see in detail him being tied up, his hands together in front of the altar, apparently unconscious. You shake him, and he awakes. Herbert? Herbert, you come to your senses, and the first thing you see as you're laying on the cold stone floor is standing in front of you, your friends.
What happened?
I give him a couple of smacks on the cheek. Herbert! Herbert!
Chloroform.
Was,
English!
Yes.
Yes. What happened?
We were about to ask you the same thing. What happened? You suddenly vanished. Now
just-
we're here in this crypt. Can you get up?
The crypt?
You get up,
Yes.
and you also see, now that Herbert's standing, what was on top of the altar. You see arms and legs, hands, feet, and some genitals, as it seems, tied together with sticks and branches, rope and yarn, assembling what seems to be a miniature of a tree, consisting only of body parts, as well as some materials to hold them together. The grotesque picture of a sick and disturbing tree made out of body parts is displayed in front of you on top of the altar.
I don't even know. Am I still dreaming?
No, I wish I was.
Disgusting.
Looks like a peculiar piece of art.
I pick out a handkerchief and drop some lavender oil on it. Just
Well, your art fascination can wait for later. Let's get the fuck out of here.
As you turn around, you see now, illuminated by your oil lamp, casting long shadows along the stone pillars. You see a naked man holding two bone saws in both hands. Long, fine black hair falls down on his bare chest. His arms and chest very muscular. On his face you see the same grin, the same excitement you saw before on the face of Johann Röttger, the son of Dr. Röttger, who was in a jester costume but who isn't anymore. He has a large grin on his face. He does not say a word. He just stands in front of you. And then, unexpectedly, he charges in. The bow saw swinging towards you. Roll initiative. Just d20.
Let's go.
oh no. My curse is back.
Natural 1.
3.
9.
Oh god.
20 to 15. 15 to 10. 10 to 5.
9.
5 to 1.
3.
1.
As per usual.
Uh-huh.
All right. Johann surprises you, and with movement faster than you would have expected, and with strong muscular arms, he charges in on, I guess, who is standing in the back?
Depends. I was smacking him in the face.
I guess you were.
I was already backing off, so I
So
would
yeah,
be...
he charges in on you and gives 2 strikes with his bone saws towards you. That is a success. You take, well, he just strikes you. Fortunately, you take 1 damage. And now he stands in front of you, grinning, doesn't say one single word, and looks at you, and is engaging in combat with you. So, Herbert, what are you doing? Just came to your senses.
If this is a nightmare, I guess there's only one way to wake up. And I unsheath my sword. And yes, I'm going to attack him with my knowledge of the art of combat.
With my knowledge.
Unfortunately, no wizards.
All right, then make an attack.
Well, yes.
So that hits, right? What is What's your attack? No, it's 5, right?
Yes.
Oh
Does not
gosh.
hit. You swing with your sword, with your cane sword, but Johann Röttger just swiftly moves all the way like a cat, balancing on one leg and then going firm again on both legs.
Oh my god.
Well, that's your turn. Ada, it's your turn.
The corpses have been male so far.
Well, you only see limbs, but the 2 corpses you have encountered so far were male, yes.
Okay. I'm going out on a limb here. And Johann, put those things away. Come on. We can help you build.
You cannot talk with them.
Is that your turn?
Try, yes.
Right, Archibald.
Being struck by the bone saws once already. Oh well, only one way to go. And I will try to circle around him and take out the chloroform cloth and just hope that it still works and that I can press it against his face.
Right, make an attack roll.
No.
Right. You circle around him, and he for a second looks to you as you're talking, and his grin is still there on his face, but he just moves his head slightly to the left. But then he sees in his eye that you try to push the cloth towards his mouth, and he just pushes your hand away. The cloth falls down into the dirt, gone.
Shit.
And he again grins. Doesn't say a word. And now it's his turn again.
Mm-hmm.
And he once again swiftly strikes at you with 2 bone saws, not saying a single word, and his grin not leaving his face ever. That hits. 1 damage again. Only strikes you. It seems like he's only playing with you so far. But Herbert, it's your turn.
One question, can I speak to him as a bonus action or is it a true action talking with him?
You can
Or
say a small
Yes.
word as a bonus action.
Johann, hör mir zu. Komm zu deinen Sinn. Was würde dein Vater nur davon denken? Oder deine Mutter? Hat sich deine Mutter das von dir gewünscht? Dass so etwas aus dir wird?
Okay.
Does he react in any way, shape or form?
We have to wait until it's his turn.
Okay, would it help me somehow to have some sort of defensive, posing with my sword stance?
I say you can anticipate his attack, and if he attacks you, you would have to roll disadvantage.
Okay, yes, so I will take
So
on some sort of defensive stance.
Go back a little bit.
Yeah.
You nearly knock down the disgusting and terrible smelling tree made out of body limbs, but you're somewhat backing off away from Johann Röttger. And Ada, it's your turn again. He did not seem to really grasp what you were going on. Or you don't know, because his grin, his expression never has changed since you met him the first time. Seems like a puppet with the same old grin on his face.
I approach the tree that he made, and I look at it, and I look back at Johann. Johann, would you like to tell me about this? Maybe, and I don't know, do I maybe have something like a notepad or
Sure.
just a general notepad, and I pick it up. I know you don't like to speak so much. Would you care to tell me about this with this? Show me what this is.
Okay, so you hold the notebook towards him. All right. He looks at you, certainly. Archibald, what you doing?
I certainly appreciate what you all try to do, but I don't think this man is capable of understanding any word we say. And I'll try to tackle him to the ground.
Alright, so you're not using your syringe?
No,
Okay.
I won't use that syringe yet. That's my last chance against
So
him.
you just try to hold him down.
I'll try to get him to the ground
Alright.
to maybe
Wrestle.
maybe have a better chance to get him with the syringe on the next turn. That succeeds.
Alright. So, Johann holds for a minute, his 2 bone saws still firmly in his hands, and he looks curiously towards your notebook. And he holds his head to one side, and it just looks like he would put one of the bone saws down, but a second later Archibald comes from the left, tackles Johann, and both of them roll to the floor. He has his bone saw again steady in his hands, but now laying on the ground, you on top of him.
Yep.
Alright. Now it's Johann's turn again. You're on top of him, and he can't really get you off, but he tries to swing at you with his bone saws once again,
Okay.
with disadvantage. Well, with disadvantage it does not hit. You manage to hold him down that he cannot get at you with his bone saws,
Mhm.
but once or twice the very sharp bone saws are just like inches away from your nose and your eyes, and you nearly see like your life going past you. You are in a very dangerous situation with a very dangerous man who is way stronger than you. That's what you see like immediately. Alright, Herbert, it's your turn.
Well, there seems to be no other way than to get rather physical right now. So I guess I should help him restrain Johann, and yeah, I mean, he's lying on the ground, right?
Yes.
And
He's currently in a scuffle.
yeah. So
Archibald.
I would like to try to disarm Johann. Yeah, I would like to try to disarm him, or at least restrain one of his arms, if that's possible, so that he can't use both of his arms anymore.
Okay. You want to do it with your cane sword?
Can I? Yeah, can I? If I can do that.
Yeah, sure. Mark
Yeah.
an attack with your cane sword.
Okay.
Cane
What do
sword.
I need to throw again?
1 to 4.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
You're not very skilled.
Yes.
Oh, you
one.
made it. Nice. Okay. So you see Archibald struggling with Johann on the ground, and you're not quite sure what to do. But you take your sword and you stab it down, and you actually manage to hit his hand. Make a damage roll for me, please. Right. And you actually manage to disarm him. His one bone saw is falling onto the ground with a loud noise.
Can I kick it away?
You kick it away, and he
Yep.
only has one now in his hand, the other bleeding from the wound you just stabbed in him. And his grin is still there, but his eyes are getting narrower. And well, for you as an alienist, it seems to be he's getting into a state of, well, mental blockade. Something like like a retreat, something like a psychological retreat. So he's probably not reachable anymore at this point. Like a wild animal.
Brute force men, God!
It's your turn as well, Ada.
Miss Ada, we could need your help here right
Well,
now.
we wouldn't need this if you just. She approaches, she takes out the syringe and tries to go for him.
Alright, make a attack with your skill, so 5 or lower. 4 or lower, but with advantage since Archibald is still holding him down.
Okay. That's first one's a 10. And an 8. I miss.
Alright, you try to get a nice shot. You push down, but in the last moment, Johann sees the syringe coming down, and with a spontaneous muzzle reaction, he moves to the side, and the syringe scatters on the ground, completely destroyed.
Johann, please!
No sound still coming from him. His grin still there, but you see devastation and like a wild animal in a cage.
He is very wild. And Archibald, it's your turn.
Okay. He's still pinned to the ground, right?
Yes, if you would like to have him still pinned, then it would be your action to hold him down further. And you would have to roll as well.
I probably can't use my syringe
You could,
while I
but if
hold
you
him down.
if you fail, then he's free. You would have to like let him go, and then pull down the syringe. It's worth a shot. I would even give you advantage since he's like on the ground before you.
Okay, then I'll just try this.
All right.
Come on. Yes,
Yes, you did it.
4.
All right.
roll the 4.
Okay. You can barely hold him down.
Mhm.
See in the oil lamp that you wisely put to the ground next to you, so you still have some light in here. His muscles and his chest are ripped. He must be working out like thrice a day or something. He's way stronger than most men you've encountered so far, and you know it's just a matter of time since until he will become stronger and then get over you. So you use your advantage point you have and put down the syringe into his heart, and it sticks. Push down the syringe. You see the liquid leaving the syringe, going inside of his bloodstream. For a second, nothing happens. Another second, and then his eyes roll behind, and he becomes limp, unconscious.
Restrain him right now.
Yes.
Now, I would say that such an exciting creature, right?
He is a child.
All humanity has left his body, and he's just become a wretched creature.
He hasn't. You just attacked him.
He did that first, but okay. Let's tie him up.
Do we
I
have
hope
something
I
to
only
tie him up?
administered enough to not kill him, but just put him to sleep for right now. I do not want him to wake up before we're done.
That's true.
You manage to find something to tie him up, and you also manage to get the guards involved. You deliver some very useful evidence, and with your help, Dr. Redker is actually relieved from his duties as a exercising doctor. And as it seems, the case is closed. The next morning, the storm has calmed by now. The rain has stopped. Normal life in London goes on. You once again sit in your small office at Crawford Street, trying to forget the last night. You stopped an apparently crazy psychopath killer, son of an opium and alcohol addicted retired doctor. Mr. Shelby's arms and legs, as well as the other victims, were easily to conduct to the victims they belong to, and with the patient records of Dr. Redker, you were also able to give your condolences to the families. It seems like you have done a great deed for the city, but you're not quite sure how long it would take until you're able to sleep again, without seeing this tree of severed limbs in front of you, and especially the grin. The cold, emotionless, piercing grin of Johann Röttger is the last thing all of you see as you go to bed, until a few years have passed and the story of the Tree Reaper, as the newspapers are going to call him, is already long forgotten, absorbed into the ongoing dramas, stories, and bloody murders of London.